Hello YouTube, thought I'd do a quick video here. Yes, I do realize this model of radio has been out for a little while. There's probably other review videos out there, but I'm going to do my my review, what I think. And the model we're talking about is the Retevis RT9000D GMRS mobile two-way radio. It's the UHF model, and this is the brand new unit I have on the bench here. Here's the box for it, and you're probably wondering, well, it says 60 watts on that box, so it must be a 60-watt radio. No, that's not how this works. The box says 60 watts. That's because they use the same box for both their UHF models and their VHF models. So just so that you're aware, if you go to Retevis website, it does tell you, let me go ahead and get you on here. If you go to their website and you look under RT9000D UHF, it does clearly state that the UHF model, let me get my mouse over here. It does state the UHF model right here is 45 watts. It's the VHF model that's 60 watts. So you got to be aware of that when you buy a UHF model. Also, too, when you want to do the software programming, you might have to install the driver. If you go to support here, under software, right here, it tells you when Windows 11 driver. You got to install that first, then you can go ahead and run the programming software. Now, what I highly recommend you do with any new radio is you read what the factory has in there for a default setting. Now, I know this radio does have a factory reset button, but sometimes you want to just be able to write to it and clear its slate. So what I mean by that is, when I took this radio out of the box, I did a read, and this is what it came from the factory. So I saved this as new factory RT9000D. Now, if I can flash this back, or another word would be I can write this back to the radio, and it's back to factory default setting. Yes, you could do the same thing under the factory reset, but sometimes just writing it back is just easier than fumbling through a menu. So I recommend you go ahead and save it before you start programming the radio and start playing around. So with that being said, let's go back here to the radio. I do want to show you a couple things here. Now, I had the cover off because I wanted to compare inside of here. Look at the connector. Now, this radio does have the capabilities to install a DB9 adapter. There is a cable that plugs into here that has a DB9 adapter that goes back here to the sticker you take off in the back here, and then you can use screws to screw in the adapter. Now, I've been I found a cable, but I don't like how it plugs in here. It's not quite right. So I'm in the process of trying to find a better cable that plugs in. If I find something that's reasonable, I will have these for sale that will have the DB9 plug already on it, and you just plug it in. They also call these repeater cables, but you plug it in, and away you go, and you can have a DB9 adapter on this radio. So that's one cool function this radio can do. It does not come that way. You got to buy the part separately, okay? So now I been checking this out, and there's no fan built in this radio, which is not a big deal if you're using it under normal use. Now, if you want to try to use this as a repeater of some sort, you're probably going to want to put a fan in there. And what I would do, I've been looking at this, and here's a cover that comes with it. Now, you could, I suppose, take a Dremel tool, cut a hole in here, mount your fan on here, then make sure you drill a couple holes for the air to come out of. Remember, you want the hot air to escape, to leave the unit. You could do that, but I don't know if I would do that. I think what I would do to keep the radio intact is I would reuse these holes that the cover screws to and make a bracket coming over on both sides, and then put the fan right in here. The part you want a fan to blow on is this part right here to cool down. This is the output IC or output transistor. So I do that. I would leave all this open for the hot air to escape. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Well, what about dust? Well, you know, if a person's worried about dust, if you put this in an enclosure, you could put like a filter in front of the fan to help filter that out. I don't think dust would be a real big problem. I guess I would monitor it and see what it looks like, depending on the conditions that this repeater is sitting at. So that, you know, I would monitor that and, you know, kind of see how bad it gets. But that's how I would do it, because that would give you really good airflow. It would let the air able to escape easily, and you're not hacking the cover. So if you want to undo it and put it back as a mobile, you can do that, and your cover won't have holes in it and all kinds of stuff. So that's how I would probably do that. Now, there's one thing I don't like about this radio, and I'm being honest. The only bad news about it being a repeater is that, let me show you something. Let's flip this around. The only bad thing is, you see the power light there? Well, when power fails, let's say the power goes out, and you have this as a repeater now. Power goes out, the light goes out. I plug the power back in, the radio will not come on by itself. That means you're going to have to go back here and hold the power button down to turn it back on. Now, that's not a big deal if this is in your car and you're using it as a mobile. But this could be a big deal if you're using it as a repeater setup. So that's one thing that I don't like. I was hoping I could find a setting in the menu with this programming software. I didn't see one. I don't know if there's a setting in the menu. I didn't check that. But if there is, great. I guess if somebody out there knows, I'm sure they'll make a comment. But I don't think there is. But I checked with the software. I didn't see one in there. So that's one thing I don't like if you're going to use it as a repeater. So let's see what this thing actually puts out. Now, I'm going to go to my repeater frequency here. And we're going to key this up. Okay, there we are. It's going to be, when I key it up, it's going to be on 462.625 is the frequency I'm keying up. As you see here, I have a dummy load with my Surecom power meter hooked up. And I know what you're probably thinking, well, it's a Surecom. Didn't you just do a video that's not accurate? That's not accurate with lower wattage with SWRs. It's fine accuracy for wattage. I've compared it with my other meter, and it's accurate. So let's key this up. Let's see what this radio does out of the box. Let's key it up. And we get 37.9. Not bad. But you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute here. Didn't it supposed to be doing 45 watts? Why is it not doing 45 watts? Well, it will if you're on the right frequency. You have to keep in mind, when the manufacturer does these radios, it doesn't matter if it's Retevis, it doesn't matter if it's ICOM, it doesn't matter what radio it is. They try to get the wattage in the middle of the band, so to speak. So when you are using it in lower part of the band, that wattage may be a little lower. And I'm going to kind of show you what I mean here. Now, like I said, I keyed this up, and what did I say it was? 37.936, 37 wattage. Let's change the frequency and see if that makes a difference. Let's go to 400. This rail can go from 400 to 400 megahertz to 490 megahertz. Let's key it up and see if it makes a difference. Well, look at that. 51.9, something like that. 51. So there you have it. Depends on where you're at in the band. This is going to have its peak performance at certain frequencies. That's normal. That's all radios are like that. So I go back to my repeater frequency right there, and I key it up. And it is 36.12, 37, somewhere around there. So There. So it's working the way it's supposed to work. I'm getting about 37 watts output on the GMRS frequency. So there, that's looking good. It's not a bad unit. It's, pretty small. I do like the DB9 capabilities. I'm going to try to play with that a little bit and see what I can come up with. But yeah, it's not bad. I mean, like I said, this is brand new. I showed you the box. Brand new. It's definitely not a bad looking radio. I'm going to play with it a little bit more. And we'll see how it goes. But so far, I'm liking it. I kind of wish the power button didn't do that. I don't like that. Kind of wish I had a fan. But other than that, I mean, this is on Black Friday. Oh, I believe on Amazon for $127. I believe that's free shipping too. So I was sent this radio. I'm just borrowing it. I got to send it back. But I believe Amazon, $127 Black Friday. That's a good price. It's not a bad price at all for a 45 watt radio. So at any rate, I hope this review kind of gives you a little more insight of this. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. Please subscribe. Thank you and have a good day.